bring in Lou Merloni, and let's see how Lou Merloni feels about the lack of activity from the Red Sox as teams like, I don't know, the Mariners and the Yankees, right around them in the standings, seem to be very active. Lou, how we doing today, and how are you feeling about the trade deadline?
Well, I like to think I'm a very patient man. But now we're within 2 hours, and I always have these moments where I'm just like, these people, everyone's panicking. They're blaming them for stuff they haven't done yet, right? Everyone's pissed the last week that they won't do anything. And I'm like, well, why don't we just wait and see first?
Lou's phone is so angry. He shorted his phone.
Oh, there he's back.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
Go ahead. Repeat what you just said, if you don't mind.
No, I'm just I'm losing patience, and it's coming down to the wire. But they need a starter, bare minimum, period. End of story. They don't have anybody to throw Friday.
As in tomorrow? They don't have a pitcher for tomorrow?
There's literally nobody announced as the starter for tomorrow.
I'm going to the game. I'd like to see.
You'd like to have a starter. Well, Lou, I'm curious. What deal has been made that whatever the Yankees, whoever has made that you wish the Red Sox would have been in on XYZ player that's been traded?
And that's the thing. There's really nobody that I was just sort of like I never thought they were going to go get a second closer. I just didn't see that in the cards. It's like I want them to use their assets to get a starter or to add another bat here in this lineup. Bieber was
son of a gun. Uh-oh. We lost him again, man. All right.
I don't know how many guys are good for 2 months when they come back from Tommy John. It's usually the following year. So what are they going to get out of Bieber? I wouldn't have been excited if he was the only guy they got.
Yeah, well, Lou, maybe the Red Sox can hurry up and get in on this Minnesota Twins fire sale before everyone is gone because a minute ago they just traded Carlos Correa back to the Astros. So we'll get a nice look at our old pal Carlos Correa in a Astros uniform this weekend, Lou. But see, my dream was, I thought it was a reasonable one too. Try to get Bednar and Keller from the Pirates, and if that meant giving up a lot of the farm and maybe a major league player, okay, because you're going to run into situations like whatever it was, whether it was nauseous or back pains or whatever it was that led Chapman to have to come out of the game over the weekend, and then Hicks pitches, and the next night they have the bad flight, and then Hicks has to come in a rain delay. Having two closers really should never be an issue, and now it seems like everyone else is snatching up all the goods, and what's left for them?
Yeah, no, it's starting pitching, but the only thing too I keep in mind is they obviously have more information medically than we do, and one thing, Marcelo Meyer, they haven't talked about at all. So either he is out for the year and they don't want to lose leverage because they're trying to find a second baseman. I don't know. And the other one is Justin Slayton. I know he's playing catch. Hopefully he's going to be on the mound throwing bullpens and he could be back. He could be that second closer too, So it's I don't know where these guys are at. It's about starting pitching. It's, the Joe Ryan, the Mitch Kellers, and guys that are down in Miami with 2.5 years. I think Cabrera's got 3.5 years of service left. Think about what it took to get Garrett Crochet, who had 1.5 years left. That's where it starts for those guys, because those guys honestly have accomplished more than Garrett Crochet did last year in 140 innings. So that's probably just the issue that we're dealing with those guys. But for me at this point, I'm all on Merrill Kelly. I heard you guys just talking about him. That's the guy I want. He's an older pitcher. He's not going to get a huge deal in the off season, so the compensation, the ask, I don't think will be as big as maybe for other guys. That to me is a perfect fit. You go get that man, you put him in this rotation, and then you add one bat. That could be a second baseman, that could be a first baseman, and we go.
Lou Merloni joining us here on WEEI Afternoons. And Lou, I feel like every time I've heard either Craig Breslow or Sam Kennedy or those guys talk, there was this urgency word. We're going to use the same urgency we had in the offseason. And people like me go, okay, I like that, because in the offseason you went out and got Bregman and Chapman and Crochet. What's the fallout going to be, not only outside of Fenway Park, where I'll bitch and fans will bitch, but we've seen this team fall off when they weren't invested in recent years. If they don't bring in a big name, a starting pitcher that's a top 3 in the rotation, what's the fallout going to be?
Probably their biggest issue with their fan base, and that is a lack of trust.
Mm-hmm.
which I do think is a problem. Whether it is, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and we want to win, we're going to spend, and you can only say it for so long without actually doing something about it. And we're already at the point where I hear it all the time. I want this team to do well. I just don't trust them. I just don't trust that they'll go out and make this trade or sign this player. And I think that is your biggest issue. And at this time of year, sure, you could hear we could have done this trade, but the ask was too much or all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah, I know, but people just want action. Like, people want a player. I got to be honest with you. I don't care about prospects. Like, I really don't. And maybe that's just the player in me. The guys in that clubhouse don't care if we give up a guy who 2-3 years from now is going to be really good. They want players now. I don't care about prospects. You've already got a young team up here. I don't want to hear about another position player prospect. I throw up in my mouth when I hear people talk upset about Blaze Jordan leaving. Like, how many rookies do you want up here? Like, get me veterans who have been here before. That's what everybody wants.
It's fascinating, the psychology, if something doesn't happen. I mean, Lou, can we just talk about that further? Just the players in the clubhouse? I mean, I covered the Astros for a long time. I've heard you talk about this. If there is inactivity at the trade deadline, and it feels as if there's some good momentum for this team, that the players, it's a palatable thing. Is that true? Like, the players just, will they'll be dejected if they don't do anything within the next 2 hours?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, like 100%. And you can come out and say, well, we didn't do anything because we trust this locker room. Ted, you've been there. You know what that means. Mm-hmm. And the players know what that means. So what happens is, for the short term, players rally. Okay, we got enough. They look in that clubhouse and say, we like our team, and they should like their team. But when something goes south, in August, when a pitcher goes down, you can guarantee the guys are like, I wouldn't have this problem if they went out and got somebody. Mm-hmm. Right away it turns to it. And it's just, when you go out and you add veterans or you add pieces that can help you win, you feel it. You want to go to the park earlier. You're like, we're okay. That's all we need. We're ready to go. Let's do this. When you don't, you still have that same feeling like, let's go to the park and do this, because, you try to convince yourself, but still the reality is that everybody needs help. You need that extra arm in the rotation and in the bullpen and maybe an extra bat. Like, you need it. It's like, maybe you don't need it, but it is welcomed, and and you feel that in your locker room.
Lou, I couldn't agree more, because obviously now you may be managing Crochet starts and giving him some extra rest down the stretch, which is possibly necessary, but also not that encouraging. As far as on the current team right now, has anyone's performance in recent weeks, you think, either made them more trade-worthy or possibly given the organization faith that they don't need to make as many moves because they already have most of the answers in depth they think they need?
To me, the answer is a rotation. Like we could talk about that, in your lineup, and you could say, well, Toro has cooled off, which is why, you can say that Toro and Romy have done a fantastic job covering up you weren't sure how you're going to cover it up, and they have been fantastic. But you have to take a step back and look at it and say, okay, is this sustainable for 2 more months? Can they keep doing this for 2 more months? You can look at your outfield, and that's why I say Meyer comes into play. Like, when you take an outfielder off of the trade market, it's really hard to go out and get a starting pitcher with 2.5 years of service time. Of control left. So the position play group, your bullpen, you have added Alcala and Hicks. There's been inconsistencies with Hicks, especially. Murphy's been really good. You've added Matz, but it's all about rotation. The bottom line is you just sent down your 5th starter. And so, and Houck had a setback. Crawford's done for the year. Dobbins blew out his knee. You traded Priest in the first week of the season for some reason. So, you just don't have any depth in this rotation. That's why you need it.
Lou, we're now, an hour and 45 minutes away from the trade deadline. If something doesn't happen of significance, what role will Alex Cora play in the aftermath? Because I know a lot of people throw out, in recent years, Alex Cora has sulked and his team has followed suit. What role does he play in dealing whatever the mess is after 6 o'clock?
Well, he plays a big role in that right there, what you're talking about, like message to the team. I think this year he sounds differently going to the deadline, where he's just sort of blowing off all the questions, and he's like, I'm trying to win today. That's their job. Whereas before, maybe he was a little bit more vocal, as far as what we need, and we need this and we need that. But so maybe there's a different approach, but it'll be disappointment. I don't mind Steven Matz. You just add an arm for depth in the bullpen of the lefty, but there'll be disappointment if you don't get another starter. And that's the thing. Even if you just got a good starter, I think offensively they might sit there and say we're okay. We'll roll with Toro and Romy. Okay, and would we like to add another at bat, to this team, like a Brandon Lau at second base, or Ryan O'Hearn, or even a Luis Arraez, at first base, something like that? Sure, but offensively we're okay. But we need pitching. They need pitching. They need starting pitching.
Lou, how would you assess this team? I mean, you got they've won 16 out of their last 22, and yep. You see young players kind of. The lineup changes, it feels like, are going to be a little bit more permanent, now that Roman Anthony looks like he's going to be in the leadoff. And so things are starting to become clearer and clearer about this team. How would you assess, is this a ball club that you think can make a serious run? Does it have what it takes to kind of have a special season, like maybe similar to 2021?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's similar. First off, Garrett Crochet, and I think Bayo kind of stepping up lately. Giolito hopefully can settle back in again. I think your bullpen is very good. Again, you could use some help just to lighten the load a little bit. But offensively, the problem is with this team offensively is that they're young, and when you're young, you become very streaky. Everybody lives in guys with which outfielder should trade, and be a 3-week stretch where you wouldn't trade Wilyer Abreu for anybody, and there's a 3-week stretch where everybody wants to dump Wilyer Abreu because he's extremely streaky. Say Don Rafaela, you could say the same way. So there's just a lot of streakiness with this offense. But I think, even if you don't grab a starter, which I find hard to believe, you won't grab a warm body, they're going to stay in this thing. Just because I think they are a good baseball team. And once you get into the postseason, all of a sudden the starters become relievers and things change a little bit. So, you can add some depth in your bullpen, but they're young and they need to play both postseason baseball. They need to, just like in 2016, when all those young kids got a taste of what postseason baseball was like. That helped them go and win a World Series in 2018. And I just feel like they need to get in there. They need to experience and see what it's like.
A name that's been mentioned a bunch, Lou, that I would imagine the Red Sox are likely to hold on to at this point, but who knows, is Jarren Duran. And Duran has been white hot the last couple of weeks. Looks like he's found or re-engaged 2024 Jarren Duran mode again. What have you seen from him recently, and do you think a white hot Jarren Duran can stick around long enough to maybe lead a surge towards that wild card?
Yeah, first off, I do. I know just offensively, this month he was fantastic. And I know even like the last week or so, he's really caught fire, and everybody's upset that Cedon's gone to second base, and maybe that's why he's not swinging it. Well, if moving Duran to center field gets him hot, it's a fair trade. I'll take it all day long because I'm not trading him. I'm pretty consistent with it because of who he is. Here's the thing. You have Jarren Duran, who put together a season last year that you only hope that the other three can one day do. I like seeing it. I like seeing a guy doing it for a 6-month season, not for 6 weeks, not for 3 weeks, not for a first half, not for a second half. I want to, in October, look back at a season and go, yep, how many guys do I have that can have that type of year? And I'm not sure you have many. And because of that, and because of what he brings to this team, I would hate to move Jarren Duran.
Lou, before I let you go, going into the All-Star break, I had convinced myself that it was a foregone conclusion the Boston Red Sox were going to get Joe Ryan. He was talking about wanting to be traded. He was hanging out with Bregman and Crochet for photos and all that. Do I have to give up on that dream, or should I hold that dream for another hour and 40 minutes?
Well, if you have to give up on the dream, I don't think it'd be because of the Red Sox.
Oh?
Because I know they want him. I just think it's going to be because of the Minnesota Twins. You know what I mean? Like if the Pittsburgh Steelers have a dream to get Christian Gonzalez, well, that's awesome. But I don't know. Do the Patriots want to trade him?
No.
You know what I mean? So that's the part of the deadline where sometimes it gets a little crazy in that everybody wants this player, but we forget that he plays for another baseball team. And that team is like, why would I move on from him? I'm not ready to do that. The guys we're moving are guys that are on their final years of their deal or an absolutely horrific contract like Carlos Correa. So, but I'm not moving Joe Ryan. But, of course, he'd love to have him. So you'd have to ask the Twins, I think, when it comes to that.
All right, I'll hold hope that the Twins break down and send Joe Ryan. I'm not sure I would characterize this as angry Lou. This was more perturbed Lou.
Yeah,
it seemed like.
Yeah.
I think that's what in about an hour and a half. Will it be angry Lou?
This is losing patience, Lou. And as of now, I'm pulling in the nest and getting ready to do the trade deadline show. And at 6:03, you might see some angry Lou because they got to do something.
All right,
they know it.
That's Lou Merloni. Check out his Twitter feed at 6:03 to get his reaction trade deadline day. Thanks for taking some time, Lou.
Thanks, Lou.
Thanks, buddy.
You got it, boys. All right.